Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Wake Up Missoula. I am your host, Scott Ramf. I'm going to tell you about all the things happening in Missoula and around the globe. There's a lot going on this week. It's kind of crazy, but let's kind of start things off on a lighter note. Sentinel High School went up against Capitol High in their senior night basketball game, pretty much the last basketball games of the season ending in the end of February. And so let me just throw it to it and just kind of give you guys a grasp of it. So basically leading by like 10 points, primarily most of the game. They didn't just get one three-pointer. They did not get two three-pointers. Heck, they didn't even get just three three-pointers, but they went so far as to playing some more and going for clutch to pull ahead with only 3 seconds left on the clock. Capitol passed the ball and with a big Hail Mary scored the game-winning point. Ridiculous, probably the longest 10 whole minutes of the whole entire game, while most of the game Sentinel spent trailing, pretty much average of 10 points for the second half. Oof, crazy game. Darn, let me do that again. So, yeah, I could have sworn I had this on the screen. All right, so as you can see here, once again, I don't know if I must have messed this up, but yeah, you can see all those consecutive points right there. I was so excited for this game, man, I tell you. I just want to watch this over and over again, just like I did a re-edit, and I'm going to try to put this online as well for you guys to enjoy. But geez, what a crazy game. Just the overall excitement, like Sentinel trailing, there's like no chance, but it's like the same player not only made like consecutive three-pointers, 4 consecutive three-pointers, and then at the very end, Capitol with the last 3 seconds of the game. It was ridiculous, and it was such a great game overall. The final score, Capitol 47, and then Sentinel 45. All right, so let's bring it back down to reality, unfortunately, and talk about some of the things that are happening in the world today. One of the things is the Ukraine deal is, Ukraine is in the thick of it with Russia, and so far this is invasion by any other name. Of course, there's so much going on. They're just like, will they, won't they? They're doing false attacks, getting everyone off balance, and then they finally went in there earlier this week. It's like the longer we treat people like our enemies and are surprised when they are when they actually become our enemies. But it's anyways, we spent most of President Trump's presidency talking about how bad Russian ties were with him. But Vladimir Putin decided to invade and take over the territories that favor Russian occupancy and sent peacekeepers to maintain order in the eastern regions of Ukraine, followed by that full-scale invasion, hundreds dead and even more wounded. So the Russian currency is at its lowest ever, and for many Russians, this is going to be very hard now that the world has banned most of anything coming in and out of Russia, including international banks that have frozen any Russian assets outside their country. So after all, we just got the report that the Kremlin is now willing to talk with Ukraine. So there's just a lot of things it's a lot of news, a lot of things going on here. I'm just going to give you the broader strokes just to get an idea what's going on with that. So of course, as if travel wasn't bad enough, over $67 million will be pumped into the Missoula International Airport to increase passenger and space in the new terminal and the plans for Phase 2. So we're coming back to Missoula. This is part of Phase 2 and will punctuate the future of the business and leisure travel through Montana's second largest city for decades to come. This is a big deal. Missoula's airport is getting bigger and bigger. More people want to travel through here. We can expect probably cheaper air prices as we move forward, just because with more competition, more airports, and more terminals are going to be there. And coming in May, the new facility will replace the old terminal which the FAA officials described as a building on top of a duct tape, on top of Legos, on top of Lincoln Logs. The new terminal, that's harsh criticism on their part, but the new terminal includes a room for 26 ticketing agents, 3 TSA screening lines, and 4 jet bridges with additional room for ground boarding. So if you've ever been in any other airport, Missoula is one of those airports that you still have to like walk outside to get up into the airport. There's a couple terminals that go right into the port, but for the most part, Missoula is pretty much like go outside and just walk up inside the airport like you're jumping in a car. So this story is from Missoula Current from Martin Kidson. Up next, we have an interview with Megan Fath talking about the Women's Fair. So without further ado, here is Megan Fath. Talk about the Women's Fair, which is happening on March 5th,
yes.
Which is Saturday. Not this Saturday, but it's next Saturday. And yeah, it's going to be happening from 11 to 4 p.m. and geared towards women, I assume?
Yes, geared towards women, although, you know, men are welcome. But
Great.
It's a very family-friendly event. We have activities for kids, we have stuff for adults, so a lot of fun.
Great. And I know that, you know, like February, late February, early March, and so a lot of mothers and parents are now planning for their summer schedule. So you guys have a lot of booths and a lot of organizations that are coming into the fair also trying to sell folks summer camps.
On summer camps, you know, we don't have a ton. We have a few, and we actually have a really cool kids basket that has summer camp in it. But we have like everything from health and wellness, beauty to clothing to, you know, just so many different types. And then, like I said, activities for the kids. We have tarot card reading. And then we spotlight 2 nonprofits. This year we're spotlighting 4 because we have 2021's nonprofits that will be there. We'll have the 2021 and the 2022 nonprofits. And we're raising money for them. So we'll have amazing raffles. Awesome.
Because around this time, this is a lot of those kind of like big gives, big donations. What organization is the Women's Fair part of?
So Marketplace Media and Events put on the event. It's just a community event, give back event.
Cool. And you guys are doing it at the University Center on the 3rd floor?
The 3rd floor in the ballroom. Yeah.
So I remember, I do actually remember going to one of them, for
Okay.
sure. I think we had our own
Yeah.
many years ago.
Yeah.
But you basically walk around, there's a bunch of booths, many people doing many different things. It's
Yes.
a great way for, it's kind of like a maid fair.
Yes, it's like a maid fair, but not as much maid things.
Yes.
More businesses with services.
It's an opportunity.
Yes, it's an opportunity fair for women.
Yo.
But we have just such an awesome selection. If you need a new chiropractor, a new doctor, if you need a new salon, you need a new gym, like you can find out so much information.
So it's a community connection event. That sounds really fun. So where can people find more information about that?
womensfair.org or on Facebook or Instagram. We are posting all of the exhibitors and our entertainment. We have entertainment on the main stage the whole day. So you can see little bits of like UM and Mismo and just really cool kids.
You were mentioning that you have raffles or like you said that there's opportunities like for gift baskets.
Yes, so we have really cool baskets. They're big baskets. One's themed and you can come buy raffle tickets. 100% of the money from raffle tickets go to the nonprofits on stage at the event. So we will hand them cash at the end of the day. Wow. Same with the tarot card reading, the massage. We have henna, we have face painting. We have a bouncy house. Mismo's coming with their obstacle course.
Oh, that's awesome.
So lots of fun activities for the whole family.
Awesome. Well, you guys can check that out. That's happening on Saturday, March 5th from 11 at the University of Montana. Great. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And I expect good times to had by all at the UC University Center Ballroom happening on March 5th. So it's not this Saturday, but the next Saturday after this episode airs. All right, so let's talk about some movies that are coming out this weekend. It's time for Pre-Critic, where I prejudge a movie based on absolutely nothing but my predetermined biases and love of movies and the love of the need to have better movies out there. We're kicking things off with a remake of a very popular kind of series of books, movies, and stuff like that. Cyrano is nothing like a period piece about courting a young lady through catfishing. We see Peter Dinklage character Serrano playing the titular role of the nose. Which, for those of you who don't know, they've done movies with Dennis Depardieu, the French guy, and they also had Martin, I can't remember what the name it was, but anyways, this is a kind of like remakes of remakes of remakes. This is like one of those things where they like how they remake Three Musketeers, David Copperfield, and different iterations of that, Victorian London, big deal. So this whole idea is that you have Peter Dinklage character playing the titular character, who is the wordsmith or the right smith through a series of letters towards a young, mostly 13-year-old, played by a 22-year-old, Roxanne, which doesn't seem like a turn-of-the-century name, but whatever. Watch a series of modern referencing in a catfishing and mistech in the form of a missed letter resulting in misunderstanding followed by a big romantic string for love. Does this sound familiar? Yes. Up next, we got Studio 666. This one I'm kind of excited about, but it's one of those kind of like movies where they have a rock band that decides to do like a horror film or Scooby-Doo, kind of like how the Monkees did back in the day. This one is called Studio 666, and it stars the Foo Fighters as basically they're making an album, and they decided just to make a movie while they're in a house that kind of seems haunted, so they make it into a haunted house type movie. So this one is about the promise of Hollywood stardom, only to reveal it's not quite what it seems. Not sure why they never do horrors of the adult film industry and the subsequent results of sexualizing the youth of the nation. I don't know why. I've been platforming a lot lately, but this is the cash grab for the Foo Fighters film about recording their 10th album at all costs. Kind of reminds me of the Monkees, or just an easy kind of, remember when the Kiss band went to an abandoned amusement park and solved a Scooby-Doo type mystery? This is kind of this, but I think they're gearing more towards the horror Evil Dead element with possession and him killing every one of his band members. Spoiler, even though it's in the trailer. Gasoline Alley. I don't care about what this movie is about just because, gas prices are whack. But Bruce Willis is even whacker as he tries yet another action film. It's this time, they're getting Luke Wilson to be the guy who goes, "Oh, wow," instead of his brother, by the book's rookie cop, and your washed up old man, Bruce Willis, that kind of stuff. Bruce Willis flexes as too old for rules type of guy. By the way, did you hear that there is going to be another Die Hard movie? But then again, there might not be a Die Hard movie. They keep on going back and forth. They really want to do it. And they were going to do it until the Fox-Disney merger, and probably Disney's just like, yeah, we're not going to waste time with another Die Hard movie. So they have a good head on their shoulders. But then again, now actually a John McClane series is in the work. It's a prequel series. Anyways, this is about a man on the run from the police, gets some police to expose the corruption. Police movies, shows, and so the whole idea behind this is that the police are corrupt, and now they have to have an older or retired police officer to come back and to expose the police. Something about everything like that. Anyways, so that's kind of like what you can expect from this movie, but we have a bunch of other movies that are coming out this week, and I'm going to do this in the speed round. The Burning Sea. Remember British petroleum oil spills? Let's crank things up and have an oil platform go down, and the researchers of a Norwegian town have to save the day. Then we got Big Gold Brick. Megan Fox, gross. Oscar Isaac, cool, I guess. Team up to write about a writer in a comedy about a lot of things happening besides plot. Naomi What's-Her-Name stars in this film about a school shooting in a small town, and now the mother must jog her way to her son because she decided to take a personal day, further heightening the anxiety of being away from your phone, your home, and society while all stuff is going down. So that is the Pre-Critic for you guys. Up next, we have Dubbin Stuff, where I re-record my voice over into movies. This is from the French film Rafifi, 1955 noir film.
Now what you're going to do is that now you're going to nonchalantly comb your hair after you drop the note. Seems easy enough. Ugh. Oh, God, just sit down over here for a second.
Okay. Oh. Very interesting.
You got to make sure that the notes that fall on the ground don't make any kind of loud noises like you just heard. You got to be very nonchalant about your droppage.
Well, I like the sounds they make. This is really fun. I can't wait to tell my grandma.
Michael!
Oh.
Michael! Listen,
Excuse
Michael.
you guys.
This is important.
All right,
I gotta
name's
tell you
Michael.
something.
What do you want?
Here, I'm about to propose to my girl. What do you think about this ring?
Uh-huh. Cyclops loves Jean Grey. This is,
Stolen, is it not? It was this nitwit's idea.
Hey, from all I know is that we just finished all the anime and then decided just to get married because we have the same
did
interests.
you say anime?
Oh, well, of course. Anime's great.
Please excuse her. She's,
Oh, come on now. We watched the entirety of One Piece.
God, it has been 2 years, hasn't it? This is ridiculous. When are we gonna be able to actually go out and do things for once in our lives?
Well, we need some quieter paper. You know, this ring kind of reminds
Oh,
me
no,
of...
you don't. We're not to go into a flashback. There's no backstory. I'm getting out of here.
You're not going anywhere.
Listen.
Yeah, I don't think so. I got plenty of manga for you to read.
Oh.
Well, guys, looks like I'm the best man now. I have the ring.
But you're only supposed to get the ring at the wedding.
Nonsense. Once you get the bachelor party going, you need to keep a hold onto this ring and sight on it and all sorts of things. Otherwise, you'd lose the ring. I know that for a fact, and I'm the best man for that job. We're going to make quite the bachelor party, aren't we, boys? This is going to be quite a wedding.
You really think
Yeah?
so? Do you think I could be the flower girl? I always wanted to be the flower girl, holding those flowers up.
Okay, I guess. That sounds fun. Why not?
All right. First things first, we got to figure out what kind of band we're going to be playing.
My
is it
nephew
gonna
has
be
a
DJ?
band.
What a great
No family band. You got it? All right, we're on it. Yeah, me too. All right, boys. Get on it.
Scat.
What'd I tell you about singing? Come on.
I guess I shouldn't be singing that song.
You're darn right.
Sorry about that again.
Hey guys, we're back here. We're talking about some city council stuff. So there wasn't much going on with city council, but they were talking because it was President's Day on Monday, and so Monday was President's Day, and Mayor. Oh wait, hold on a second. Yeah, Monday was President's Day. And also I wanted to mention that on Wednesday, every fourth or last Wednesday of the month here at the Missoula Public Library, Mayor John England will be hosting a talk show to answer some questions within the community of Missoula. I don't know why I reacted like that, but the whole idea is that it's supposed to be a little more engaging with the public, answering some questions, and it's just a little bit of news on that one as well. So they'll be advertising it. It's on the city's website. So let's jump right into it. We're going to be talking about community of the whole, and one of the big things that they're talking about is the finalization of the water litigation. So water trial happened back in 2017. I know it's been quite a long ride for quite some time, but at the same time, here's the backstory. Anyways, the purpose of this continuing litigation is that our lawyers, Boone Carlberg, convinced the city to pursue damages from the financial standpoint because the city spent lots of money just to be able to pay to acquire the water system. So this is to recoup a lot of the legal fees and the cost of that and stuff like that. So without further ado, here is John England with the intro.
Tasha Jones and Scott Stearns from Boone Carlberg and Harry Schneider from Perkins Coie, who represented us through the condemnation proceedings and ultimately through our acquisition of Mountain Water and the conversion to Missoula Water, as well as all of the litigation that's gone on since, including our effort to recoup what we believed were ill-gotten gains by Carlisle as a function of the way they conduct business with the city of Missoula.
All right, so that was my first quote. Let's go back to my notes. Mayor throws bad faith out there to describe how Carlisle Group intended to not only sell to Missoula, but not even give us a chance to buy our own company when they said that they would. They wanted to prop up Missoula with other companies to sell to Liberty as a package, which they kind of did, but acquisition was finalized when state Supreme Court ruled in favor of Missoula. So Missoula wanted about $10 to $15 million to settle court fees and recoup a lot of the cost with the trials. John England came forward to the council to weigh in. The settlement presented by Carlisle Group. So we're at the point where we're at negotiation, and this is what John Engen had to say to kind of wrap things up.
We negotiated a settlement number of $4.13 million, and that's what we're asking you to approve. It settles all of the litigation that's pending. It settles the arbitration case. We write a check for $4.13 million, and we're all done. Carlisle has no claims against us, nor do we have claims against Carlisle. At the end of the day, we own the water system, which was our original goal. We own the system, we operate the system, we pay the debt on our mortgage, in effect, a bond issue, and we have been investing millions of dollars in upgrading the utilities since we took ownership in 2017, and all of that work will continue.
And of course, you know, many of your rates have gone up just this new year, but it is as a result of 2014, where they explained a little bit further in that meeting. If you want to learn more about it, I'm just giving you kind of the cliff notes, but there was like a 4% freeze from the Public Service Commission in the state of Montana to prevent any erasure of the pricing, and I believe it was about 4%. So we were basically at 2014 numbers until just this year. So that was one of the justifications with raising the rate and stuff like that, even though I don't like raising the rate because I have to pay for it. So the financial impact will be about $300,000 per year, but will not affect taxes, water rate payers, but will impact money already set aside for capital improvements. So whatever projects they're working on, they're going to have to kind of hold back on a couple of them. A lot of projects are really expensive. If you get a chance to look at the Public Works spreadsheets, most of the new equipment, main pipes and all that stuff usually are anywhere between $600,000 to about $1.5 million for a lot of those kind of maintenance and updated stuff. It's ridiculous, but the good thing also is that the water company itself is fairly profitable in making money. Not to mention federal dollars for infrastructure timing may present good options for our utility in the future. So think about that. Gwen Jones praises Tasha Jones, Harry Schneider, and Scott Stearns on how their efforts help Missoula's legal team. So here's this.
I'm an attorney, so I have a sense of the culture out there, and I want Missoula to know that the attorneys that we have had representing the city of Missoula are of an incredibly high caliber. Boone Carlberg, Tasha Jones, and Scott Stearns are amazing local attorneys. Harry Schneider from Perkins Coie in Seattle. These are top flight attorneys. So, and the amount of time they have put in paid off in terms of ultimately acquiring this system. And if we were still 2 or 3 years ago contemplating the bad faith case based on what we knew back then, I voted for it, and I'd vote for it again. I wish we'd had a different result, but I think we gave it everything we had, and I know our attorneys are absolutely amazing. So there are a lot of communities out there that are in different situations because they have private ownership of a utility and they're not able to acquire it, and they've tried and they failed. And it's a testament to our good attorneys that we are in a very, very, very good situation right now. So,
all right. So that was her response. Politically, the first attempt for Missoula to get the water company in the early 90s was a complete and abject failure, and many folks around that time came up to speak to their dismay on these new attempts back in 2015, 2016, and 17 to the arbitration and acquisition trial. It cost the city lots of money back in the day, only to go nowhere. And when the government fails, they tend to never touch a lot of those topics moving forward, especially when it comes to like public utilities going from private to public. There's a lot of that going on there. But of course, Jordan Hess reflects on what it was all worth. So this is what Jordan Hess had to say.
In 100 years, the only thing that's going to matter is that we own this water utility. Hell, in 50 years, in 20 years, tomorrow, the only thing that is going to matter is that we own this water utility in perpetuity. And so this is a drop in the bucket, so to speak, in the timeline of this community, in the timeline of this water acquisition, and it's well worth it to me to have this settled, to have it put behind us, and to have certainty moving forward.
All right. So finally, to wrap things up, it's like one of those things that it was such an ongoing thing. The city reasonable expects to reimburse some or all of the expenditures made for costs of the project out of proceed of bonds in an estimate maximum aggregate principal amount of about $6.7 million. The bonds, after the date of payment, all the portions of the cost and the project, Missoula continued to spend $300,000 a year for 20 years to finalize the purchase of the water company as a whole. So, you know, like we own the water company, but it's like, you know, it's like we own the mortgage. So we're paying off the mortgage right now. So Monday night, they will finalize this, and Missoula's relationship with Carlisle Group can finally part ways. All right, so, you know, they talked about other things in committee meetings. I just wanted to harp on this one because this is an end of a very long story of the city of Missoula, and I've been on it for quite some time. Hell, I was even there in the trial, live streaming the initial trial and the subsequent, like, I guess the what's that called, the rate trial, whatever they did, in which they had 3 people, each representative of Carlisle and Missoula, to come up with a pricing for how much the water company would be worth to sell to Missoula, which we paid way more than we probably should have at that particular time. But anyways, I did want to mention during Parks and Conservation is that they decided to dedicate Pineview Park to Bill Beavis. Bill Beavis was put in 46 years of volunteer work into Pineview Park, and who orchestrated basically one of the first ice skating opportunities here in the city of Missoula in the 1970s. There was little to no public interest or availability when it came to ice skating in Missoula, but was Bill Beavis, who worked with Missoula County to establish an ice rink in Pineview Park. And since 1975, Bill has coordinated a team of volunteers who have devoted tens of thousands of hours, provided all the maintenance to the Pineview ice rink. So congratulations, and the renaming will happen, and it will cost basically just the cost of the signage. So it's going to be fun, and it's going to be great stuff, and I'm really happy for him. So if you want more information about the city of Missoula and what's going on with them, you can go to ci.missoula.mt.us. It is a wonderful website where you can find out more information and learn more about meetings and upcoming agenda items and stuff like that, and not to mention all the other fun items on their website, as well as comment on management plans for the North Hill open space. So they're always looking to find ways to interact with the public more, and they're in this day and age where information is everywhere. They want you to find places where you can find the right information, where you can actually have some major impact in how our city progresses in the future. So ci.missoula.mt.us is a wonderful website that you guys can utilize. All right, let's see here. What is my clip I'm going to show you guys right now? It looks like I am going to be showing you guys an art clip, followed by our promo for our Spring Flicks, and I'll talk more about it after this.
Spring Flicks. This is Media Camp. You can make movies. Hey, don't hang up. This is Media Camp. Spring Flicks, this March 21st through the 25th.
While spring break lets your kids out, you can drop them off here at MCAT. From 10 to 3, your kid gets to use many of our resources to create and share their own stories. For kids age 8 to 14, a fun break from their spring break. Spring Flicks. All right, hey guys, welcome back. I gotta rework on that ad because it abruptly ends. But anyways, Spring Flicks is a spring break camp that happens during spring break here during the MCPS's spring break school curriculum. So it's going to be happening from March 21st to the 25th. This is geared for young kids, about 8 to about 14 roughly, and it's a great opportunity for kids to learn media, live streaming, broadcasting, all sorts of things when it comes to television. And heck, MCAT has always been a great stepping stone for a lot of people getting involved with television. And if you're interested in learning more, you can go to mcat.org, or you can give us a call at 542-6228, otherwise known as 542-MCAT. All right, let's kick things off with some events. I want to talk about the last weekend of the Big Sky Documentary Film Festival. The Big Sky Documentary Film Festival is going all week long. Roxy Theater, Zootown Arts Community Center, Wilma, and here at the Missoula Public Library for Doc Shops. And today is the big pitch. So today happening basically from all day from 10 a.m. to about 4 p.m. On the 4th floor. So basically the 4th floor is all the Big Sky Documentary Film Festival. We're going to be live streaming the big pitch for the Big Sky Documentary Film Festival from 10 to about 4, and it will be available on Local Live, which is on our website at mcat.org. Local Live is one of our online-only channels, so we have 3 channels. We have our 189 and 190 that constantly goes on thanks to our programming director, Lori, and then we also have our additional channel, which is for live streaming events, and they are on our website at mcat.org. Besides that, we try to post things on our YouTube and our Facebook pages regularly, so you guys can keep up to date on what MCAT is all about by subscribing and following. All right, so wrapping up your February this weekend, some typical events here happening at the library. You got Tiny Tales and Storytime at 10:30 a.m. Happening on the 2nd floor of the Missoula Public Library. It's a great way for kids to get involved with reading and learning, young parents, all that kind of stuff. And computer-based, more things happening. 12 noon, you got watercolor with Rob Pete. We also have yarns for people who want to make their own sweaters and knit their own things. It's an ongoing event, happens every week and multiple days also. So if you miss it today, they also have Tiny Tales and Storytime happening on Saturdays as well. So let's talk about some other events that are happening in town. Lifelong Learning Center. Computer basics. This is something that I think everyone should take. I think it's important to have people who are also willing to teach computer basics, because I'm not. I know that for sure. Be a confident, self-sufficient PC user. This class is designed for people who know how to use a mouse and keyboard, but are new to the computers and not confident in their skills. You know, computers are always updating. You're always trying to find this or that, and then whatever new update they're trying to shine out, they're just like, oh, check out this. If you move your mouse over on this corner, a thing pops up, and then you forget all about it, and then when it pops up, it's like, what is this? So that's my story of how technology is just like one added thing that I'm just like, oh, that's nice, and then I forget about it forever. That's me with computers. But also a great excuse to stop bothering. Yep, so it's the Lifelong Learning Center. They teach a lot of additional classes and adult education. This is geared towards also GED prep and GED programs as well. So Lifelong Learning Center is off of 3rd Street. It's one of the older schools that MCPS still rents out to other organizations, hence the Lifelong Learning Center. And you can learn more information by Googling the Lifelong Learning Center. You can also follow the link at MissoulaEvents.net. Most of these events I'm getting and talking about are MissoulaEvents.net. So Stroller Strides at Toole Park. So this is an ongoing event that's been going on every single Friday at Toole Park. It's a great way for mothers and their strollers to go into the park, work out, get a total body conditioning workout designed with moms with kids in tow. It's a 60-minute workout. It's from 9:30 to about 10:30. It's a nice way just to get out and about, and it's cold out there, so you definitely want to work up a sweat. So another thing is that the Phoenix Missoula is a recovering through writing. So if anybody is struggling with substance abuse problems, at the Shack, they've been doing this weekly event, Recovering Through Writing. So if you're somebody out there who is who's a creative type, but at the same time who is really kind of struggling with addiction as well, which honestly a lot of times goes hand in hand with creativity. Starving artists, suffering artists, it is a great way to recover through writing and use it into the positive light. Creativity at home, Spark. They did a lot of help during the lockdown, and Spark is a program through the Arts Missoula, and it's within schools, and it's basically kind of like using your body, and it's like, my best interpretation is contemporary dance with an educational element. That's what I've seen. They've done so many other things. It's not just that, but there's a lot more to this as well. It's kind of like in-school flagship program. So it's a great way for kids to get engaged with learning, and it's a new way of learning as well, and gives the teacher a break for the day for a class at least once. Also, I already talked about the big pitch. Also happening at the Wilma is what's called One Road to Quartzsite. So a ragtag group of crust punk libertarian snowbirds and elderly folk become unlikely neighbors during an annual pilgrimage to a temporary long-term camping community in Quartzsite, Arizona. Steeped in rural folklore and full of diverse and quirky set of characters, One Road to Quartzsite is a beautiful, poetic observation portrait of people trying to live outside of the constraints of American society. So one of the documentaries is happening at the Wilma. It's about an hour and a half. Big Sky Documentary Film Festival. It's the Schoolhouse Docs, and this is fifth graders, and it's going to be at the Roxy at 4 p.m. Schoolhouse Docs has been rated for students by Missoula educators. This block recommends for fifth grade and up. Language warning, subtitles. So including the films Awako, Daniel and Nate, Seeds, The Legacy of the Land, and Harmonic Spectrum. So that's what's kind of happening there. I'm giving you a retrospect, but if you go to bigskyfilmfest.org, you can find all the listings and where they're located and what times they start. But I'm just giving you kind of an overview. So for history buffs, the Museum of Forest Service History, Missoula Public Library at 7 p.m. tonight. Calling all history enthusiasts. For history buffs at Missoula Public Library is held at the last Friday of each month from 7 to 9 p.m. You'll have to have special entrances because the library officially closes at 6, and so you have to probably come in through the garage to actually get inside the building. So you have to work out some of those details here as well. I'm not entirely sure how they're doing this, but this is going to be at 7 to 9 p.m. with joining guest speaker for lively entertainment presentations of historical interest. The February speaker is Lisa Tate, and learn about the important work of the National Museum of Forest Service History and their efforts to build a national conservation legacy center in Missoula. That'd be cool. And so this is going to be the lecture takes place in Cooper Room AB. I'm assuming even MCAT's going to be filming this, and possibly, I think we have been live streaming a lot of things from the Missoula Public Library in terms of lectures as well. So you guys can look for that. But also for any public library events, you should ask the public library about it more so as well. So they know more than I do. We are one of the partners. I try to know as much as I can, but I only know so much because some people kind of blindside me with something about something. It's always something. But anyways, Big Sky Documentary Film Festival Dad Jokes is a stand-up comedian. Mo Welsh performs a special live set following a screening of Dad Jokes, a short documentary where she sets out to meet her dad for the first time in almost 20 years, but now without shedding all of her dad jokes along the way. It's 36 minutes film, followed by that dad joke day. So those are the kind of events that are happening for Friday. There's a lot of things happening. Big Sky Documentary Film Festival is such a huge explosion of culture here in the city of Missoula, and I think it's great. So Saturday, if you want some of the old typical stuff, you can go to the farmers markets or the market at Orchard Homes. This is from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It happens every Saturday up until the farmers market and the downtown market start up again sometime in late spring, maybe early summer. They usually start pretty much as soon as God, they keep on starting sooner and sooner every year. It's kind of crazy. But Raptor Field trip to Mission Valley. So, hey, if you're a ornithologist or a wannabe, meet at the northern corner of the University of Montana Adams Center parking lot around 8 a.m. or at the Senex gas station around 9 a.m. This is mostly a driven field trip with frequent stops to look at birds. We'll spend much of the time outside of the car, so be prepared for cold temperature, wind, and snow. Dress in layers. And so this is going to be really cool. They're going to have a lot of great things, and since it's a carpool, they ask that people wear masks. And you can contact them. This is Larry Weeks, and you can contact him at 549-5632. And just so you know, guys know, all the numbers I'm showing up here, the 406 prefix is in it. So 549-5632, and that's Larry Weeks. Again, that's 549-5632. And you can email him at BWS. Oh, geez, I'm not going to say that. I probably should have made a graphic for that. But anyways, just find more information at MissoulaEvents.net. This is where I found the link. So MCAT tour and training every Saturday at 10 a.m. Learn about MCAT. Grizz Dip Polar Plunge. Hey, this is always a fun event for a lot of people looking to get cold and even colder out there. For those of you who are sadists, fundraising event begins local Special Olympic athletes. The Polar Plunge encourages otherwise rational individuals to jump in freezing cold water for a good cause. Plungers receive monetary pledges to take the plunge, and for their courage, they receive awesome goodies like shirts, beanies, and even a TV. Oh, you can win a TV? Maybe I'll do it. This year's conjunction with MDA Winter Brewfest. Those who take the plunge will also receive an additional drink token with the purchase of the commemorative winter brew mug. Man, they really want people to freeze. All right, so here are some of the events that are happening for some of the kids, especially Saturday afternoons. A bunch of drop-ins. History Center, Natural History Center does a drop-in. You got Missoula Art Museum does a drop-in, and we do a drop-in, which we made popular because everyone seems to be following us around the late noon, early 1 to 3 kind of area. So I'm a little. I'm impressed, but I'm kind of annoyed at that. But I think it's kind of funny too. But from 1 to 3, MCAT will be hosting a stop animation drop-in for kids 8 to 14. We're going to try to push that Spring Flicks camp on a lot of those kids as well during the next couple weeks leading up until spring break. So watch out for that. And let's see, Winter Brewfest is happening at 1 p.m. It's at the Hip Strip parking lot of Boone and Crockett Club, and this is from 1 to 5 p.m. So the drink token for the Polar Plunge, sponsored by it. Take the plunge, go to the Hip Strip, get that extra drink token, all that stuff. It's a Winter Brewfest. It's a way for people to get outdoors and just freeze to death and drink too. Anyways, that's what Brewfest is. Teen D&D Guild. If you're interested in Dungeons and Dragons and you're a teenager, library has an ongoing Dungeons and Dragon Guild. They also do it on Friday nights, but this one is geared for teens, and it starts at 3 p.m. here at the public library. So, and also if you're afraid, you can also do it online. They have the link at the Missoula Public Library and MissoulaEvents.net. So, Deconstructing Frankenstein series, Frankenstein, at the Missoula Public Library at 5 p.m. on Saturday. Going to be deconstructing, talking a little bit more about Mary Shelley and the influence at that particular time, and maybe talking about what drugs they were on as well. So they're talking about Deconstructing Frankenstein series. It's an ongoing series here at the public library, and it's Saturday night at 5 p.m. Dear Mr. Brody, MCT Center for Performance Arts. In the 1970s, a 21-year-old hippie millionaire promised to give away his $25 million inheritance to anyone who sent him a letter in an effort to usher in a new era of world peace. Dear Mr. Brody is a psychedelic journey into the heart of Michael Brody Jr., who offered world peace for the price of a postage snap. So that's the whole, that's what's happening. It's MCT at 5:15 p.m. tomorrow night. So here's some of the things that are happening in and around the University of Montana is doing an event called Mechanical at the UM Theater of Dance. This is happening from the 23rd through the 27th. Regular showings with a matinee on Sunday at 2 p.m. This is a masterpiece of 20th century theater by Sophie Treadwell. Mechanical runs, like I said, 23rd through the 27th. And then, of course, Sunday, we're going to be wrapping up the Big Sky Documentary Film Festival. The award screening starts at 5:45. So if you missed most of the stuff, this is kind of like the big event. This is like kind of like the big event, the gala, all the best movies. All people are just like, this is the Audience Choice Awards. Like everyone would love this movie, really well received, and it's a great opportunity. So Sunday, starting at 5:45, that'll be kind of like the beginning of the end for the Big Sky Documentary Festival for this year. Good times had by all, but like I always say, you can always look up more information about this and more by going to MissoulaEvents.net for all your events for the city of Missoula. So I wanted to thank you guys for joining me this morning. I definitely had a weird, rough start. I was really excited about the game last night. The whole game was so slow and boring that I'm just like, whatever. And then the last 10 minutes, or there's like 3.5 minutes to 4 minutes on the clock, and I was just like, this is crazy. And I just love looking at some of this footage over and over again, just to kind of see just like the immense game that this had, just like going for all those pointers and all that stuff. I'm just really impressed with the Sentinel team, and it's the same guy. It's like they gave it to him. he had the ball and he just consecutively launched 3-pointers. They would foul and stop the clock, and then Capital would miss one or make one every maybe 1 out of 4 shots. But man, what a great game. And then finally, boom, you got the final nail in the coffin from Capital, just with a clutch. Just such a great game. Just such a crazy game. And I love the ending. But for the most part, the whole game, me and we hire high school teens to record a lot of their games, and so we kind of act as production site managers while the crew and some of the kids learn and have a great experience with that while getting paid. So if you are a teenager or if you know any teenagers, you should be related to them to know them. So you can always have them stop by MCAT and ask about our sports, but we won't be doing sports until football season of next year. So there's going to be some time, but if you're interested, stop by. All right, so thank you guys for joining me. And I wanted to say, for Wake Up Missoula, I'm Scott Ramph.